Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Black and Married with Kids. I am so excited to be with you guys tonight on this wonderful, wonderful Monday because I am going to really give you guys some insight, some wisdom on this statement, right? That is going viral that everyone has to have some opinion on right now about what Pastor John Gray said on Sister Circle TV. And we're going to get into some dialogue with this tonight with myself. So if you heard about this, if you have your opinion, comment below your city, your state, where you're from, because we are going to dive into this. And hopefully tonight I can give you guys some insight, some understanding. I'm going to bring my mom on here if I can about this conversation that was said tonight, what was being discussed. So hopefully she can join in. Let's see if we can bring her in. But as of right now, comment below where you're from, your city and state. Tell me where you are from, all right? Can you hear me, Mom?
I can hear you. How are you?
All right, good. I can't see you, but hopefully they can see you because I can't see you right now, but you can see me, right?
Yes, I can see you.
All right, so we're gonna talk about this. People, comment below your city and state. And I'm bringing my mom on here today because here at Dunamis Woman, we did a dialogue about this yesterday, and this is really what we're all about. And hopefully tonight we can give you guys some insight, some clarity, and understanding of what Pastor John Gray meant when he said this statement. So, Ma, are you ready? Are you ready?
I am ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay.
Don't look like I'm ready. You can't see me, but I'm ready.
I can't see you, but hopefully they can see you and they can hear you. Comment below if you can see her. I can't see her, but let me know down below if you can see D on here, because people have been tagging us on this conversation. People have been commenting. People have been saying, Ariel and D, what do you feel about this comment? What do you feel about what was said? And, you know, we kind of let everyone do their blogs, do their posts, get out there. Yeah. And now it is time for us to really open up our mouths and bring some enlightenment to the situation. So we're about to get into it, but comment below. You guys know how I do on my comments down here. Your city, your state, where you're from. If you could see me well, say I can see you. If you could see her, yes. Thank you, Stephanie, so much. Hi, Lisa. Thank you for confirming this. And please share this right now on your page, yes. All right? Because people are going viral with this. It's so important that they get some level of truth and understanding as to what Pastor John Gray was saying on Sister Circle TV. And hopefully we can do that our best of really diving into this. So share this right now on your page, all right? And let me know, comment below before we get started as we dialogue, if you saw it or not. So if you saw it, put I saw it. If you didn't, put I didn't, all right? I want to know who we're working with, all right? So if you saw the clip, comment down below I saw it. If you didn't, you did it, all right? But see, Mom, let's go into this, all right? Because we don't have a lot of time, and you know we can talk about this forever.
Yep.
So, as it relates to this comment, all right, when Pastor John Gray said, my wife endured more pain birthing me than she did our children, what that statement alone, what was John Gray, Pastor John Gray saying? Because I think a lot of women, we'll be mindful, a lot of people have misconstrued his words. So in your enlightenment, being in the space, what was he saying when he said that statement?
Well, what he was saying is that whatever his issues were that he brought into the marriage, that he brought into the relationship, she has taken the brunt. She stood with him. She endured some things spiritually. She was able to give birth to him by what we have been talking about, by praying for him, standing, sacrificing, enduring, which most women would have turned away and left.
Yeah. And
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And we have comments. Cheryl, thank you for watching. Erica, thank you for watching. If you are just now joining into this, and Mom, I'm going to go back to your comment. I'm Ariel Fuller. This is Pastor D. Collins. We are the dynamic duo, or half of our trio, with Dunamis Women Enterprise, where we guide women in faith through spiritual mentorship, prayer, and coaching so they can experience healing within their soul and transform their life and relationships through the power of God. And that mission alone is what we're talking about tonight. So we thank Lamar and Ronnie for having us on here, and thank you for commenting below. But going back to what you're saying, you were saying, okay, she knew what she could necessarily handle based upon what he brought into the marriage. So let me clarify. He wasn't saying that his wife lost herself for him, right?
Oh, no, definitely not. Because see, this is what we as women, we have that ability, we have that strength we have that miraculous power, that's dunamis, to be able to birth the heart, the vision, the mission. But before you do that, you got to see the pain that they're in. And so that spiritual birthing, when she said it took more for her to birth him than her two children, because that is a pain that most women don't know how to handle.
Right.
But she knew how to tap into her dunamis, tap into that, make a decision. Whatever this man's issue is, I'm the one, I'm the womb,
Right.
I'm the vessel that can birth him into the place where God has for him. Where this is the key, Ariel, that I love, that whatever his issues were,
I think you.
no matter what his issues were, she was the woman who knew how to not cover his mess, but cover him. That's why he said she was a spiritual covering.
Right.
Because she knew how to allow his weaknesses not to be seen, because she was in the process of spiritually birthing him, where she did not allow that pain to take him out, nor that marriage.
Now this is what Andy said tonight, and definitely put your comments because I'm going to be reading them. Okay, and this is what Andy said, and this is what some people thought a lot of women took this as, right? They said, why do we have to suffer and deal with the shortcomings of men when they won't do the same for us? John Gray's wife was born and assigned to him. Too many women are trying to be that spiritual birthing to men that are not their husbands. So Andy, you made a really good point, right? About, you know, some women as it relates to men that are not their husbands. But I think this is what a lot of women took from it, that his wife was suffering based upon her position that she was taking within her position as a wife. And what you were saying, just to bring light to this, is that one, all men have issues. There is no man that is without issues. So if we believe, whether you're single, whether you're married, whether you're divorced, if we think that we're going to find a perfect man that is not going to require something of us as women, then these men wouldn't even need it. There wouldn't be no purpose of godly marriages, of marriages, period, in the purpose of a union. So I think the first thing is every man is going to have an issue. Now,
and every human being, Ariel, every human being has an issue. However, there's a greater responsibility, and this is all what I'm saying from a spiritual perspective, which is what his wife did. She executed, and she's steadily doing it. It's a forever process, right? Because once you birth him into one aspect, it's some more, it's some more, right. It's some more. So that's why he said, I will honor her for the rest of my life, because he recognized, you see what I'm saying, of what she had to endure, which is what a union is all about. A union is not about, oh, you know what, you're good because you have this or you have that. What God has joined together, right, let no man put asunder. But those issues for a woman, she has to know what she has been assigned to handle.
Now, Monique made a good point. She said, this is amazing. I do not have the ability to birth a man. Is this really okay? Now, we talked about this a little bit on our dialogue yesterday, because, see, healing, a lack of, and Monique, this is not you, but not every woman knows how to do what John Gray was saying, right?
Yeah.
This is why it was such a big issue, because you were saying it's not that women don't have the ability, it's the fact that they have not been taught how. And I think when he opened up this dialogue, it shocked a lot of women, because who has heard this before, that I gotta birth a man? Who has heard this? We really can't even fathom some of this stuff because we haven't been taught how. So Monique, going back to your question, it's not the fact that you don't have the ability, but you have not been guided and led and taught how to birth a man. And that's what we at Dunamis Women here do. We teach women how to do this, because as a man, he can say a lot of things, but it's teaching the how to. See, as a man, he can't teach women how to birth. And that's why here at Dunamis Women, we're doing this. But one point of what I want to say to piggyback off this, and I want you to go to this, is that when ladies have a lack of healing, it hinders their hearing. So what do I mean by this? A lot of women took this in their own perception, in their own ways, based upon their pains, based upon their hurt, based upon their lack of being able to pursue healing within their own self. So when you have a lack of healing, it hinders what you're actually really able to hear. Because see, when you've been hurt multiple times, I'm just gonna be honest, you're like, I ain't doing that. I'm not about to suffer for another man. We go back to
Yeah,
his mama again, right? And
yeah, and one of the, well, there's the healing is very important,
right,
Ariel. And I'm talking about emotional healing.
right,
And there's some, you got to look at, everything is not black and white. There's a lot of variables to spiritual enlightenment, spiritual living. And this is what we're talking about. How do you, this is a spiritual principle
yes,
that she's living. Spiritual. And the one thing is, religion has suffocated spirituality.
absolutely,
Okay, which is nothing but dunamis, you know. So you don't even think of those things. And then the natural aspect of it, we, even before we have gotten married, we have some self, and I'm talking about women,
mm-hmm.
we have some self-inflicted pain.
Yes,
What do I mean by self-inflicted pain? Well, I made a decision to go out there and sleep with Tom, Dick, and Harry before I got married. John Gray did not.
okay,
Avatar did not. You see what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
So that's saying that they don't have their pain. We all have our inherited issues as a black people.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me on that one. But we also have had some pain that we inflicted upon ourselves as a result of the pain that has been inflicted upon us
Right,
as black people.
right,
So we are held accountable for the decisions that we have made in our own life, which is why I need emotional healing.
right,
Ariel, I need emotional healing before I can birth the man that God has for me.
so key,
From my own self-infliction, I did that. I slept with Tom.
right,
I slept with Terry. I slept with Dick before I got to the real awesome man of my life, like a John Gray.
right.
You know, so
It,
we need that healing in order for our wombs to be fortified spiritually.
healing has to come first. And I like the fact that you guys are asking questions. If you're just now joining this, make sure you're sharing this on your page right now. If you do not know who we are, my name is Ariel. This is my mother, Dee. And at Dunamis Woman, we guide women of faith on how to do exactly what we're talking about today, to pursue healing within their soul, to transform their life and relationships. So we thank Lamar and Ronnie for having us on here to bring some enlightenment. But Angel made a good point, and we're going to go to this, all right? Angel said, I don't understand the term birthing. Do our men birth us? Explain that, Mom, from a spiritual standpoint, that why we as women have to be in a position to birth our men, because men cannot give birth, not naturally, and how this relates to spiritual. So bring some enlightenment to that, because we're going to talk about spiritual birthing and what does that actually look like.
And that's why I think it was kind of taken more so out of context, because
right.
John mentioned that, John Gray mentioned that, as opposed to Avatar Gray mentioning that. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So realistically, naturally, men cannot give birth. Okay, so it is naturally, so it is spiritually. It's not the way it was designed. It was not the way that it was set up. If a man even took one contraction, they'll fall out probably.
Right.
From what they won't ever feel it. Those contractions, that birthing of how God wired us naturally, is only an indicator as well of the spiritual processes that we take to birth. So in other words, how can you birth a man? Well, a great man, a real awesome man, a black man, his mind, everything about his seed, Ariel, the man's mind spiritually is just like the seed that he carries in his testicles.
Yeah.
When he ejaculates the seed naturally, a woman get pregnant, she germinates it, she cultivates it,
mm-hmm.
she births his child.
Mm-hmm.
When he speaks his mind,
mm-hmm.
see, and this is what John Gray was saying. I've said some stuff that she endured. My thinking was stinking. My mind was messed up.
mm-hmm.
I may have preserved my penis until I got married, but my mind was still had pain from my childhood from this. So when those seeds come out of his mouth, it hit her in her core. It hit her, but she still went into a prayer. She went into the supplication of prayer to know that it was not the man that she married, but it was the pain that he inherited from his childhood. So that's the power of prayer, birthing. I know, God, this is not who he is. I know, God, this is not the man you gave me. That's why prayer and supplication, Ariel, is a birthing process on behalf of the mind of our men, which they have been hurt as well.
Right.
So our men can say some things that they don't really mean. They can do some things. I had one lady in my coaching program, the man, he would go off into a cave I mean, I told her it was a cave, but she was like, Pastor D, why he doesn't talk? Why he come home and just go in the room, or he just watch TV? He wants to, because his mind
Mhm.
has so much stuff going in. So that withdrawal of her emotions, I had to coach her how to go and supplicate for him, how to pray. That's what John Gray was talking
Right. And
about.
I want to bring some light to this. Velda also said, and we talked about this yesterday, Velda said Derek Jackson is a man criticizing John Gray, not a woman. And we want to talk about this comment because you said this yesterday about a man, one who has never been married, right? Criticizing another man because if you haven't been married or don't understand this process, is some things that we just necessarily cannot speak to. And especially from a man's standpoint. So I want to go to that, but I also want to allude to what you're saying of men going necessarily within a cave, because from I'll go back to this comment. Let's address Derek Jackson. Well, not him specifically, but a man speaking upon this, and then I want to go into the spiritual birthing, and I'll go back to what you just said. So let's address who we hear giving some input and insight on this topic based upon where they are.
If I don't really know what he said, but my question was to you yesterday, is he married? And you said no. Maybe he have, I don't know. But one thing that I do know is that he's not a woman. So the thing is, of what he was talking about, John Gray was talking about it from what he and his wife experienced. And if you haven't experienced it, I cannot sit up here and have a dialogue with a man about a menstrual cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, although he knows that his wife comes on her menstrual cycle, why am I having a conversation with the man about the menstrual cycle? Because he's never experienced that. Some things he just won't never know about. So my thing is, if you don't really know what you're talking about or what John Gray is really, really talking about, let's keep quiet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you can really, really, some people just talk to hear themselves talk.
Right.
Some people are just talking and criticizing because they want to be famous. You know what I'm saying? Some people just want to have notoriety and fame, and they want to get it at whatever expense that they can. Every woman and every man has to abide in her own calling.
Right.
Being a man is a calling. Now, he was speaking strictly of their union.
Right.
And he had a right to talk about that. Let's lift it up. Maybe you don't know. Maybe we could have that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But let's not criticize another man when you have not experienced that, because every man needs to experience that. That's the whole crust of Dunamis Woman.
Right.
To coach women so they do know how to spiritually birth the man. Hell, he need a woman to birth him.
Right. And I want to allude to what you're saying to this, because Acacia wrote a nice comment about this. And if you haven't shared this on your page, please share this right now, because this is so important for you guys to be able to share this and to spread this. Once again, we thank Lamar and Ronnie for having us on here. But I want to allude to what you're saying in Acacia's comment, because see, here's the thing. What she did as his wife was not for John Gray. I'm going to be very honest with this, okay? Because a lot of times they're thinking, well, she's losing herself for a man. If you are a believer, if you are a woman, first your submission is to Christ and Christ only. So there are some things that only Jesus can do, that God can do for a man, that we as women cannot do. So when you take all of that pain, or when you take all of the things that your husband is dealing with, or that a man is dealing with, when you say, God, I will do and I will be obedient to what you have called me to be, you are releasing your own power and you are giving it to the one who has the power to execute. And I think a lot of times, like Acacia said, she said, his justification was backwards, because the order is Jesus Christ, the husband, and the wife. There's certainly power in praying in a praying wife, but he needs to take responsibility for his own spiritual growth and salvation. We women are never responsible for our spouse's growth physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. All he said is that he needs a mama. He's spiritually immature, and that they are unequally yoked. And this is what
and you know what, Ariel? That's an opinion.
Yes.
And I respect the opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you had me on here because, first of all, I'm older than you. I'm wiser than you in some areas. There's some things that we will never be on the same wavelength.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's just certain things, you know. My experiences are far greater than what my own opinion is and my intelligence. So the reality of it is, everybody has to take some type of responsibility for someone in some way and in some degree.
Right.
No, there's no woman that has walked this earth that has not lost some level of herself in some man, including her father.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? The whole point of being human and having Christ is that we constantly regain ourselves, renew ourselves, re-strengthen ourselves, revive ourselves, rejuvenate ourselves. Yes, I can say that in pain. I ain't losing myself for no man, and every man got to take responsibility. That's pain.
Right.
I have to speak the truth. That's emotional pain. And we all in it, particularly. That's why I love this platform, Black and Married with Kids, because I know I'm talking to Black folks. You know what I'm saying? We're pain. And because of the pain, we as women have to become emotionally healed. Whether it's not your husband, you still got to take some responsibility to birth your son.
Right.
You got to take some responsibility because they just don't know how. They can pray, but they don't know how to travail. They don't know how to supplicate. They don't know how to go into moans and groans like the ancestors did. Ancestors would put their head in a pillow and they would moan on behalf of their men and the sons and their husbands, the one they loved, who was being beaten and lynched. See, she lost some of herself in that. We're not talking about losing yourself where you ain't taking no responsibility.
Right.
Yes, there is a lot of enablement in the Black community.
Right.
There's a lot of codependency. And so I do agree with her on that point. But I'm talking about from a spiritual perspective, really not only just knowing the logos and the written part of his word, but the revelation of his word that only God can reveal to me concerning my husband.
Right.
God will reveal to you concerning your husband. Some things I don't need to know about your husband that God ain't gonna reveal. So that's what John Gray is talking about. Some things God only revealed to my wife on my behalf.
Exactly. And I think that this is what I want to allude to, because we as women sometimes we want men to be in their rightful place. But we fail to realize and ask ourselves, are we in our proper rightful place? Are we in the place to where we can continue to protect and to cover them from a spiritual standpoint of what is necessarily needed for them? And I think that my frustration in this day, in this season, in this hour is not really knocking who we are as women. It's just the matter of the fact that we are expecting so much. I don't want to say it's a frustration. It's more of a righteous anger that we want men to be in a rightful place, but we as women are putting in the work intentionally to be in the place that we need to be.
Well, reality is, Ariel, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to speak the truth in love, okay? A lot of us as Black women are putting in the work in our own pain as well.
Right.
We need emotional healing. I can honestly say that we need emotional healing. And then on the flip side of the coin, your generation, I'm just going to use you all. There's no way your generation has experienced. I come from old stock. I come from mothers and grandmothers who we spent time at the altar and travailing. That is a lost art. Okay. I even have been a part of the charismatic, name it, claim it, quick fix. Oh, he's wonderful. He's lovely. We don't want to put in the spiritual work.
Right.
That's not just concerning our men. That's concerning a spiritual. Oh God, I want it now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's it. When it comes to certain principles, though, don't change.
No.
And this is why at Dunamis Woman, some things you're gonna have to learn how to. If you don't want to do, I tell women all the time, baby, if you don't want to do it for your husband, do it for your husband's son. Do it for your husband's daughter. Do it for the father who caused that seed to be planted in your egg, in your sperm, in your belly, which is your egg, which is why you produce life. Because everything we do goes back to the man. We get divorced, but it goes back to, you can get married again, and you can have 10 blended families, but you got 10 different seeds if you got 10 different children's father. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, so that makes sense. It makes sense.
Everything. And it may be out of sight, out of mind, but you better do it for your son.
Right.
You better do it and pray that I become the woman that I am. So the son, see, this is what we're missing. And I want to say this, and I'm going to shut my mouth because I'll go in for a minute.
And you got to go live tomorrow too.
One thing about what we're missing is that, and I've heard John Gray say this, where they say go back to his mother. Well, no, because the mother laid a foundation that now the wife can handle. See, mothers lay a certain foundation with their sons, and then they're given to their wife to continue to pick up that mantle. So John Gray's mother taught him how to preserve himself, how not to give himself to every kind of woman, how not to go out there and just screw and screw and screw, and then you want to think you can find a virtuous woman. His mother laid a foundation in him that afforded him to find a virtuous woman like Mrs. John Gray. Proverbs 31. Who can find a virtuous woman? Well, read up to verse 1 all the way down to that question, and it will talk about how a man's mother prophesied, laid a foundation, gave him what he needed for the woman to now take the wife to be able to take the rest of it.
And same thing it is with a father giving away his daughter.
It's the same thing. So it's not about going back to the mother. The mother, that's why it told the man, leave your mother and father and cleave to your wife. It didn't say, woman, leave your father and mother. It said, man, leave your mother and father and cleave to the woman who can birth you to the next realm, who can birth not only your children naturally, but can birth you spiritually.
Yeah. Well,
I could drop the mic on that one.
On that note, we want to thank you guys. We have a gift for you all who stayed all the way to the end. If you are wanting to be able to take your prayer life to the next level, we have a free gift for you guys because it's so important. Not even just if right now you say, I can't even do it for the man in my life. If you just want to do it for the children in your life, you want to do it for your father, you want to do it just for your sons, then we want you to get a copy of Pastor D's free prayer book in the mail today. So go down below at bit.ly/my free prayer book, and we want you to get a copy of How to Pray with Power on Purpose. And that is where you're going to get a foundational tool of how to execute your power, how to heal from your pain, and put that in a place of prayer. And if right now some of you all were transparent and said, I can't do that for a man in my life, I'm not at that position right now, and you were honest and you were open, but for you and just being in the rightful place of where you need to be, then we want you to get that free prayer book for staying on with us tonight. So that link is going to be down below. We're going to share that with you guys. And like I said before we get off, we want to thank Lamar and Ronnie. But spiritual birthing does not mean a suffering. It means that you are sacrificing, that you are serving God, that you are crying your silent tears out to your Father so that you can continue to stand in who you are and your authenticity as a woman for the sake of the man that God has assigned to you. So hopefully we gave you guys some clarity on this, that spiritual birthing is not a suffering. But if you do feel like you're suffering, you're not suffering for a man, you're suffering for the one who laid down his life for you. So we want to thank you so much, Mom. Thank you for being on here. Hopefully tomorrow you can bring some other clarity.
You're welcome. I will look better. I will look better tomorrow because you caught me when I just got finished working out. So I just had to put my disclaimer out there.
So they wasn't caring about the look and everything like that. So,
but one thing I do want to say, Ariel, please, you all, get the book. It's free. And the reason why, because it will give you spiritual principles that can take, regardless of what you want to pray for. It will teach you spiritual principles that will jumpstart you to wherever your life is ready to go.
Yes. So that link is down below. Yeah. I'll comment to all you all's comments as I always do. But thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, Lamar and Ronnie, for having us on here. And thank you for bringing some enlightenment. We're here at Dunamis Woman. We're going to continue to guide women of faith on how to pursue healing within their soul to transform their life relationships through the Dunamis power of God. So thank you all and have a good night. And please share this.
Have a good night.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.